Hobby Evolution, episode 717. I got a haircut yesterday. You can't even tell. You can't even tell. I felt like my hair was getting long. Maybe it was just the facial hair because I usually don't let the facial hair get too crazy. So I went and got a haircut yesterday. It's today is my mother-in-law's birthday. And here's how I know November 1st is my mother-in-law's birthday. November 1st, 2016. Game 6, World Series, Cubs and Indians. I skipped my mother-in-law's birthday dinner to stay home, be a couch people, and watch the Cubs and Indians Game 6 of the World Series. Game 7, November 2nd, 2016, was leading into my wife and I's wedding in July of 2017. We were going through the wedding plans. November 2nd, 2016, Game 7 of the World Series was also scheduled our tasting dinner at our wedding venue. Guess who stayed home to be a couch people? Sorry, I'm not. I'm not missing Game 7 of the World Series to taste some food. I trust your judgment, dear wife. She still married me, and she's still with me. How many years later? 5 years later. So that's how I remember my mother-in-law's birthday. Oh, of course, November 2nd or November 1st, Game 6, World Series. Skipped your birthday dinner. So the reason I share that, so like I should get a fresh cut for birthday dinner tonight. And the lady that was cutting my hair. First off, yesterday was Halloween, which I forgot at the beginning of the show. I'm not a Halloween guy. And I haven't dressed up for Halloween since I was 24 or 5 years old. It's just not. I love scary movies. It's not. I'm not anti-Halloween. I love scary movies. I love Halloween. I love candy. We pass out. We turn our porch light on. We pass out candy. We're not the humbugs. But I just don't get dressed up. I don't get into all the craziness that is Halloween. I feel like if you're into Halloween, you are into Halloween. Like you are in. You are committed. Kind of like I'm committed to Christmas. Like in October, I'm watching Hallmark Christmas movies. Hell, I had one on last night. I'm committed. I'm not committed to Halloween. So I get my hair cut yesterday at I go to Great Clips. And I found sometimes it's really playing Russian roulette with your head. Sometimes with some of the people you get cutting your hair, but the location I go to now, they're much better. I haven't had any ear snipped. They don't violently shake my head and buzz cut me and tell me, "Oh, this is my first haircut." I'm like, "Oh shoot." So the lady that cut my hair, she's all dressed up in cowboy getup. She's got the Wrangler jeans, shirt, the flannel shirt, the cowboy hat, the cowboy boots. I mean, I'm in Wisconsin. To me, this is normal. So now she's also like, and I think she's been in there, cut my hair before. She's a little alternative. Earrings, lots of tattoos. I think she colors her hair like different, like purple. So it's a little like, okay, I think she's in it is Halloween. I think she's in costume, but you don't want to say anything. Maybe she's into cowboys, cowgirls. I don't know. So you don't want, it's like things like she's obviously pregnant. You don't want to ask just in case. I don't want to ask if she's dressed up for Halloween. Just no, this is I live out in the country. This is what we dress like in the country. So she was. And so she said she's so disappointed that none of her customers are dressed up in Halloween costumes. It's kind of hard to cut hair if you're in a Halloween costume, right? So I'm like, I'm just not into Halloween. Like, it's just not that I'm a bah humbug about it. I just don't dress up. So I got my haircut, and now it's like it doesn't even look like I got my haircut. Usually when I get my haircut, it's like, oh man, you can tell you got your haircut. But it doesn't look like it. So, which means I'm probably gonna have to go back sooner, because they really didn't do much. It's like they trimmed around here, and that's about it. So let's go into the chat. We've got Ed with us. Good morning. Johnny Boy Cards. Good morning to you. George is with us. Good morning. Good evening to you, George. Also, I wanted to piggyback on one of George's tweets, so I'm glad George is here. Mark, good morning. David, what's up? Brian, Terry, Andrew, who is Paige and Deanie Bean. Matt is with us. Royals 417. Zach and Porter are here. Victor and Christian and Flawed Thinker, who likes Halloween for the dad tax. I like it. Christian says, also not huge on Halloween. Bring on Thanksgiving. I love Thanksgiving, but it's like, and I know some people like, you can't go Christmas shopping until after Thanksgiving. You can't watch Christmas movies until after Thanksgiving. You can't play Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. Let the holidays come. But Thanksgiving isn't like Christmas is a season. Halloween is a season. Thanksgiving is a day. Like, well, and then you get leftovers. It's like a weekend. Thanksgiving's a weekend. So you can absolutely celebrate Halloween. And I like the way Halloween and Christmas, you can kind of overlap them a little bit. Like, you can still watch scary movies in November, and you can watch Christmas movies in October. At least I do, and Ken does. So that's what I think. But yeah, I love Thanksgiving. I love the food. I love turkey. I love stuffing. Stuffing's my favorite part of Thanksgiving. And I love the Black Friday baseball card deals, hopefully, that are coming. Victor says, not too many kids yesterday stuck with a bin of 80s baseball cards. That stinks. We had less trick-or-treaters last night than usual. We still probably had 30, somewhere in that range, maybe. Probably, I think 30 is probably a good number to pinpoint. But it was like boom, all in like one. So I don't even know when our trick or treat hours are. I think our trick or treat hours are 6 to 8. I'm used to, I think growing up we had them 5 to 7, which 5 seems a little early because it's still light out. I don't know. Halloween, like trick or treating, maybe it is 5 to 7 because of the I know safety's kind of utmost importance, and I'm in a bigger city, not in a small town, so maybe they do 5 to 7 because of it's lighter and they don't want kids out after dark. But we didn't have a trick or treater until like 6, little after 6, and it's like, where are the trick or treaters? And then they just boom, 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 and the dog's going crazy. And then by like 7, it really petered out. We just had a couple here and there. So it was like between 6 and 7, boom, all the trick-or-treaters. After 7 o'clock, just a couple. And then by 8 o'clock, nothing. And I think we turned the lights off at 8:15. But we probably had 30 come through. And a lot of them were, and it might have been more because my wife and I fight over who has to answer the door. Neither of us. Although last night we were a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Volunteer. We were both volunteering to answer the door. But some like came, some it was usually what I noticed here. It was usually like I don't think we had any like individual trick-or-treaters. Like it wasn't like a little kid with his mom or dad. It was like a small group, like 2 or 3, like at least 2 or 3. And then sometimes there would be like 6 or 8, like in a group, like friends. Cause there's a lot of kids in the neighborhood. I live in like a neighborhood where it's like, we're like kind of out in the country, but it's like kind of a big neighborhood. And there's a lot of kids. So that's why we have more than normal. Than like in my small town or in the past. Victor says 93.9 Light FM will start playing Christmas music today at 4 p.m. I think that's fair. November 1st. I think that's fair. The only time I don't like Christmas music being played early is if it's a station I like enjoy listening to. So if you listen to 93.9 Light FM, uh like if that was a channel that I constantly listened to, and at November 1st at 4 p.m. it turned to Christmas music for the next 2 months, I would be annoyed because I like Christmas music, but I don't want to listen to it for 2 months all the time. We went to when I worked in radio, K100, top 40 state, hot AC station. Um, we one year went to Christmas music. I think we always did Christmas music like the week of Chris. It was like wall to wall Christmas music the week of Christmas. But then one year we went like the day, like Thanksgiving Day, I think, like 6 p.m. Thanksgiving Day. And then we had like a new like vice president who ran the radio groups, and he's like, "You are playing Christmas music the Monday before Thanksgiving." And that, my friends, did not go well in our community because K100 was like a popular station. Like that's where all the new music plays. That's where the banks played K100, the dollar store played K100, the insurance agents played K100. They don't want to listen to Christmas music for 8 hours a day for 2 months. I get it. But I do like if it's a crappy radio station I never listened to, and they start playing Christmas music in November, and it's a cold. Today it's going to be 70, so I'm not in the holiday spirit today because it's going to be 70. It's going to be nice, sunny, hopefully warm. I don't want to watch Christmas movies. I don't want to listen to Christmas music. But if it were like 30, I would be in. Mark did not have any trick-or-treaters at his house, so he just has a big bag of candy. So we bought 2 big bags. If you're familiar with the Costco big bags, so we bought my wife bought 2 of those big bags, and I'm like, this is a lot of candy. And so we opened a bag and we went through. We ate quite a bit of candy in the last month. So I before my wife came home, I filled the bowl, and I just filled it with the first bag we opened. And my wife gets home and she's like, "Is this both bags?" And I said, "No, this is the bag that we opened." And she's like, "Oh, you didn't open the second bag." I'm like, "Well, I figured if we don't go through this first bag, we can just return the other bag." She's like, we're gonna open that second bag. And I'm like, but there's a chance that we don't. So it got down to, so we had all the trick-or-treaters, and towards the end, the bowl was down to Almond Joy. I love Almond Joy. Apparently that's not Nick Vosbrink on Twitter last night tweeted the same thing. Because we just put the bowl out like, "Here, kids, take whatever you want." I do have a funny story. So one of the times I answered the door, it was a small group. It was like 4 kids maybe. So there are 2 little girls that were like standing next to each other, and I put the bowl down, and I can't remember what. I'm like, "Yeah, you can take 2." I think she asked if she could take. I'm like, "Yeah, you can take 2," and she goes, "I'm only allowed to take 2." And so I put the bowl to the other girl that was next to her, and she goes, "She can only take 2, but I can take 3." I thought that was really fun. The mom was right behind. Mom laughed. So we just hand the bowl, and like nobody wanted Almond Joy, and apparently in Nick's neighborhood, nobody wanted Almond Joy there either. But and my wife's like, "Do you like Almond Joy?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll eat the Almond Joy. Hell yeah." So that was Halloween. Let's see, where are we at in the chat? Let's see. We've got Victor, Christian, Flawed Thinker. Let's see. Christian bringing on Thanksgiving. Victor stuck with some bins of 80s baseball cards. Clark, good morning. Matt Marg is here. Dean, what's up, Dean? Dean is also with Andrew. Herman's with us. What's up, Herman? Christian says Thanksgiving, such a great sports weekend. Oh yeah. Thanksgiving is what I love the most about Thanksgiving week is probably like towards the bottom of what most people think sports weekend wise. College basketball is amazing. All of those preseason Maui Invitational. Oh man, I'm the Bermuda or Bahamas or Nassau. It's in Nassau, whatever. Those preseason basketball tournaments. Oh, great college hoops. Thanksgiving weekend, of course. Thanksgiving Day, NFL is great. So yeah, I'm huge on Thanksgiving weekend sports. Let's see. Mark didn't have any trick-or-treaters. Zach says, I hear Backyard Breaks gets all the good candies. Rumors. Let's see. So I also saw, and I saw this retweeted or posted by Sports Card Radio, that Backyard Breaks sent basically a cease and desist letter to somebody on Instagram. So I went to this guy's Instagram. Pretty funny. It's got to be. I'm pretty sure Backyard Breaks is in on this joke. Like, just based on the content of the video I saw, it's like, on what grounds? If it's real, it's really stupid that Backyard Breaks would like send this cease and desist letter, which makes me think that Backyard Breaks, they're pretty smart dudes. The guys that run the show, they're smart guys. So that's why I think they're in on it. Like, it's got to be. And I looked at the guy who posted this video. He's got some other video comedy content. Some of it's funny, some of it's like not funny. But I think it's just a joke, just to grab more baseball card headlines. That's my thought on that situation. Let's see. Andrew says, Bo, you missed your opportunity to clear commons and empty the closet of cards by throwing them into Halloween buckets. I did think about that, but what I don't want happen is spend the time because you don't want to just grab a pile of 88 Fleer, because then my house might get egged. You know, if somebody takes these home and they're like, oh, this SOB gave you 88 Fleer, let's go TP his house. So you want to like put some good stuff in there, and it's all about time. So yes, I am. I'm looking. I got to get rid of this bulk because I want to get more bulk moved. And I can't like sort the next bulk until I get rid of this. So it's like it's kind of like an assembly line when I get rid of bulk cards. So I think this is the first time I've ever gone to Twitter. I posted. What is today? Tuesday. Sunday night, I finally put it all up on Facebook Marketplace. I put an ad on Craigslist. Haven't got any bites. And then so I'm like, I'm gonna go all out. We're gonna put something on Twitter. So everybody, like, I've had a ton of retweets and likes. So I really appreciate that. So thank you to those that have interacted with that tweet. Hopefully I can get this bulk moved. And I can get another batch sorted. No, I can't sort another batch till I get rid of this, just because I'm out of space to move boxes around. Let's see. Cooter says we always give away full-size candy bars. So we have become a drive-to house. Probably had 200 trick-or-treaters. Good Lord. Good Lord. Mark says high school football on Thanksgiving is huge in the Northeast. Football used to be a big thing here in the Midwest as well on Thanksgiving Day. There's now it's basketball has crept into to taking over Thanksgiving. So there's a couple Thanksgiving. So in Illinois, we have holiday tournaments, which are big in high school basketball. Like basically every holiday that falls within the high school basketball calendar, there's some type of tournament somewhere in the state, and they're usually multiple, especially Thanksgiving. It seems like every high school is in a Thanksgiving tournament, and every high school is in a Christmas tournament. Now, some like Iowa, they take like Christmas off. Like you cannot schedule high school basketball games during like the week of Christmas or right around Christmas. In Illinois, it's huge. Like there's big time Christmas tournaments usually right after Christmas. Some host just before Christmas, but holiday. There's a few schools that host Martin Luther King tournaments. What else? What else is there in the winter months? I think that's about it. There's no Valentine's tournament, no Valentine's Day tournaments. But yeah, Thanksgiving now. There's a couple. There's only a couple. I know Quincy, Illinois has a Thanksgiving tournament. It's kind of a round robin. I think 4 teams come in, and they play on Thanksgiving night. And then there used to be, I think Monmouth College and Knox College in Division III football. I think they did their, they do like a, is it a turkey? Is it the Turkey Bowl? But I think it started on Thanksgiving. But they no longer do Thanksgiving Day anymore. Christian says, horrible, scary Halloween scene. A card that I have been chasing for 3+ years popped on eBay yesterday and someone else bought it instantly. I missed it by 5 minutes and the card was $6. Oh my God, that sucks. I've been very active on eBay the last few days. I have been buying into Ethan Roberts player breaks for Topps Update. I think I'm up to like, I think I've bought into like 35 cases of Ethan Roberts player breaks. One of them, a bulk of that was one break where it's 20 cases. And it's so big. How big is it? It's a multi-day break. So they did 5 cases yesterday. They're doing 5 cases today, 5 tomorrow, and 5 on Thursday. And then that same breaker, Hobby Legends, which actually is an enjoyable YouTube breaker. I was watching, I only watched like one case. I'm like 30 minutes into case number 2 out of the 5 that they've ripped already. And I don't think, well, I mean, I'm only a case and a half in. The 2 cases that broke on, I think, Sunday that I was in, there was a 2.5 case break, and there were no Ethan Roberts like parallels. So it's just a bunch of base rookies. So 20 cases, they estimated around 160 base cards per player. So at the very least, I'll have 160 base rookie cards of Ethan Roberts. So within all of these cases, I'll have well over 300, probably close to 400. Ethan, I think I'm going to do a binder. So I'm going to try to super collect Ethan Roberts. I'm going to try to chase the rainbow, although he's also chasing the rainbow, Ethan himself. So, but we've conceded with each other on certain auctions. So he's in on some, I'm in on some. Let's see. Max, what's up, Max? We just need to stop talking about those guys. They built something everybody is jealous of and surpassed all the big breakers in less than 2 years. Can't stand them, but to each their own. I agree. I think they're very smart guys. And they cater to a certain audience. And that audience they cater to is likely not this audience. Like, I'm not into that. And I don't think many people watching these videos are into that style. It doesn't mean it's wrong or it's bad. If they're scamming, I do think the Trevor Lawrence thing, I think that's bad. That was a really bad look. But it didn't seem to slow down their freight train of breaking. But yeah, it's, kind of how I see it is I'm not into that style, so I just don't watch it. I choose not to partake. Bruce says, I keep forgetting to ask, what was your first card you sold as a full-time vendor on eBay? Oh man, that's a good question. And I have no idea. And it was kind of, I really don't even know, like, so I sell so much volume. It's like, where do I draw the line? Like, where do I draw the line? Would it be like the moment I walked out of my office for the last time, or like 8 a.m. Monday morning or Friday morning, as it were? I don't know where to draw that, like, because there were so many from like the time I walked out of my office for the last time, which, by the way, I'm going to share some stories from my time in shipping today, some shipping nightmares the day after Halloween stories, scary stories from the shipping world. Or do I like say just 8 a.m. Monday morning? Or technically, I think my last day was a Thursday, so Friday morning. So I don't know. It was probably like a 1989 Topps Jose Canseco. So it was probably something super random. I have no idea. Christian says Thanksgiving also big in Michigan for high school football. The championships are held at Ford Field. Yes, in Illinois, the day after Thanksgiving is championship day. So the small schools play on Friday, the big schools play on Saturday of Thanksgiving. And I for 1 year I did stats. So I used to do a lot of work with the IHSA, the Illinois High School Association. And I did contract work for them. I broadcasted the softball state finals. I did advanced stats for basketball. I even broadcasted some volleyball at the state finals 1 year. I was one and done on volleyball broadcasting and one and done on football stat taking. And the reason why I was one and done on stat taking for football, so I went down and I think I stayed. I think I got a hotel Thanksgiving night. So like Thanksgiving night, I had this was DeKalb, Illinois. So the Illinois State Championships rotate between Northern Illinois University and DeKalb, which isn't too far from me, 2 hours maybe. Actually, probably an hour and a half. And then Champaign. And then back in the day, it was in Bloomington at Illinois State. So this particular year was in DeKalb, and they're like, hey, come work the state finals, do advanced stats. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I did not dress appropriately for end of November in Northern Illinois because I was just assuming I'll be in a nice heated press box. Oh, no. So I get there on Friday morning for a full day of high school football state championships. And we are broadcasting from, so I'm like with the announcing team, the play-by-play and the color commentator. And we're in the press box with no window. So it's just reach out and into thin air. It was cold. So after I was freezing. So at the end of the day, it's like I need to dress warmer tomorrow. And I had to go to like Farm and Fleet or Walmart after like 10 o'clock. It was probably Walmart because it was like 10 o'clock after I was done for the day. And had to get like hand warmers and gloves and a heavier like shirt to go under my coat because it was like 30 degrees. And I was basically out in the cold. I did not realize that was going to be the case. And I said, I don't think I want to do this again. I don't like cold weather. It was not worth it to me. So yeah, Illinois high school football playoffs, championships are Thanksgiving weekend as well. Victor says Illinois football championship games on there. There it is. Kraft opens the Patriots field for the high school football finals. Ed says Mark is correct. High school football rules Thanksgiving around here. Michael's with us. What's up, Michael? Card hobbyist. Good morning. So I wanted to share some shipping nightmares because I saw a couple. Oh, there's one more thing I wanted to talk about. George is with us. George tweeted. So there's been a lot of, and I don't talk politics, but I did want to just share. I was going to tweet something, but I'm like, nah, I'm just going to stay out of this. So I'll just briefly mention it here. So George talks about, so there's a lot going around on Twitter about whatever Elon Musk is doing. And I've seen some politicians like, oh, we're going to start our, like, I've heard this before. We're going to start our own platform and do what we want to do. It's like, Jesus H, come on. So I think when Trump was like banned from Twitter and all of those people that said, I'm going to go find my own platform, good. Let them all leave Twitter, find their own platform. Now, the other side of the aisle, they want to leave Twitter. Good. Let them leave Twitter. And then all of us normal people, we can enjoy Twitter for what it is and not have to worry about all the flippin' political, whatever you want to call them. So that's my 2 cents on that whole thing. I don't care what side of the aisle it is, left or right. They're all crazy. So that's my 2 cents. Let's talk shipping nightmares. Shipping nightmares. So there was a couple tweets that I've seen here recently about shipping nightmares, and I think it was initially like it kind of first came to my attention. Mike was in here and said that they shipped a pallet of cards from West Virginia to Idaho. And I'm like, ooh, because I have a background in that. And I saw something else where, and I don't even know the whole story behind it, but it was some like FedEx nightmares. So I tweeted last night, kind of in response, like, I would not trust to ship cards valued over $10,000 via truck. I would fly. You know, if you want to send it to PSA or wherever, Beckett, fly. It is worth the if it's not like a like now when you're getting into bulk, like if it's a $20,000 bulk deal, okay, it's a little different. But if it's like a couple $20,000 cards, I would just assume fly them out, because your plane ticket's going to be $500 and it's going to be a day. Take a day off, buy a $500 round trip. Maybe it's an overnight stay and you have to drop $200 on a hotel. So it's worth it. I mean, if we're talking that, it's not like a $5 card, okay? We're talking big money cards. We're not talking a few $100 cards. I'm talking like 10K, excessive 10K. It's worth the flight. Because you've read the FedEx stories and all that. Now, when it comes to bigger items, this goes in line with like the pallets, because this is kind of where the company I worked for, we were a third party. We worked with trucking companies. I was on the sales side with companies to haul their freight. And some of my customers did have to go LTL route. LTL is less than truckload. So it's basically like a pallet, like the pallets I buy from Goodwill. You could call Dayton Freight. They would go in and pick up the pallet from Goodwill. There's no dock there, so there's a lot of accessorials. That's another thing that I hate with LTL. There's all these accessorials, and it's like, okay, there's no dock, so we've got to have a lift gate. So you've got to pay an extra $50 to $100 for a lift gate service. And then they can ding you for other things. They may, since there's not a dock and it's kind of in a residential neighborhood, they may have to charge you a residential pickup. So there's a lot of these little things, and you don't know it until you get the bill. Or you say it's 500 pounds. So if the cargo itself is 500 pounds, the pallet weighs about 50 pounds. It's cheaper to say, and here's another thing, and I would always overestimate the weight. So if my customer gave me like, it's 500 pounds, I would say 600, because usually, even if I would ask, does that include the pallet? Yes. And usually it did not. So I would say 600. And they're like, why? They're charging me on 600 pounds. And I'm like, well, because it's going to be cheaper at the front. If you say I shouldn't use name names, but an LTL carrier, if you tell them it's 600 pounds up front, it's going to be cheaper than if you tell them it's 500 pounds and then they weigh it and it's 600 pounds. They're going to ding you for more than what the 600-pound shipment would actually cost. It's just, it's really slimy. It is really slimy. Transportation in general is a pretty slimy industry. And I worked in it for about 8 years. So let's go to the chat as I gather my thoughts here. Max says, I can't wait for it to be next week. Honestly, so sick of politics. I know every time I get a text message or I see another damn political commercial on TV, my God, I can't wait until November 4th or whatever day after the election is. And this coming from someone who used to love to talk politics. Red Light 34, what is up? Card Hobbyist agrees with Max. It's always a bombardment of political signs, newsletters, pamphlets. Yes, everything, on and on. Colin Murray, what's up? Good morning to you. Let's see. Card Hobbyist says, oh, yes, the nickel and diming of logistics. So there we go. So Card Hobbyist is familiar. Matt, what is up? So that's exactly what it is. You get nickeled and dimed. And so the company I worked for, we specialized in full truckload, which there's not much nickel and diming. It's pretty much upfront cost. So like, I had a beer company in Colorado, and so we would agree on, you would put a bid in. Okay, I can move this load from Fort Collins, Colorado to Chicago, Illinois. My all-in rate is going to be $2,000. And that's whether fuel goes up, goes down for whatever contracted time period, that's going to be the rate. And you try to get trucks. I mean, just like any business, any sales, now you try to find a truck. Hey, we'll pay you $1,600 all in. Now, there is some nickel and diming. If they go to the dock and they have to wait 3 hours, their dispatchers calling in, hey, my driver's been there 2 hours. He needs detention. And then you get into that. And I hate flipping detention, especially when it's a first come, first serve shipper. Anyway, getting too deep in the weeds on that. But there's nickel and diming on the full truckload side, but it's less so. And usually it's more upfront, like, hey, if there's detention, we're going to charge this much. And there's it's a gray area on that as well. So LTL, hate it. But I had a few customers who shipped LTL. My biggest shipping nightmare was I worked with a food company in the Chicago area, and most of their shipments were LTL, like a few pallets at a time, usually up. And LTL is typically up to, I think the cutoff was like basically 6 pallets, and then it goes volume and then full truckload. So most of theirs was like 1, 2, or 3 pallets typically. And they were did a lot of like food ingredients. So they were shipping to like manufacturers of various food making companies. So some of those need just-in-time shipping. Well, that's the last thing you want when it comes to LTL. If you want to ship at LTL, time is not of the essence when it comes to less than truckload freight. But some companies offer guaranteed delivery. Now, guaranteed delivery is not guaranteed. There are no guarantees in transportation, but they're going to charge you. They're going to charge you for it. So my company that I worked with, they would call me, hey, we need to send this up to Michigan, and it's got to deliver. So say today's what, Tuesday? It's got to be there. They can pick it up today, but it's got to deliver by Thursday. Oh, Michigan, that's quick trip. Yes. But just in case, because LTL, it's dicey. Even though it may only be 200 miles, it might be a 2-day trip. Because it's got to go to the dock. It's got to go to, they've got to send a truck out to pick it up, take it back to the facility. And then that truck goes, and it may stop in Fort Wayne, and go into their dock there. And it might be put on another truck to go up to Detroit or wherever in Michigan. So, let's go with this company. Here's the quote. It's $200, an additional $200 for guaranteed delivery on Thursday. You might be able to take the chance. It might get there on Thursday without that $200 guarantee. They're like, no, it's gotta be there Thursday. Guarantee it. So, okay, add $200 to the bill. Truck goes and picks it up. And here's another thing with these trucking companies. There's no communication. So if they miss a pickup, they don't call you. Usually the shipper calls and they're like, hey, your truck never picked up this load. And then you call the company and they're like, oh yeah, driver ran out of time. Okay. So, truck picks it up today, Tuesday. It's Thursday afternoon, and my customer calls because their customer in Michigan calls and says, hey, that load didn't come in today. That trucking company came and delivered, but it didn't deliver your stuff. And so I would call the company and they're like, oh yeah, we missed it on the exchange. Well, it was guaranteed. Well, yeah, it missed, so we'll just have to deliver it tomorrow. Do I get my $200 back? No. So fortunately we had because I wasn't like an expert in LTL. We had a team out of a different office. They handled like a lot of the communication. They handled like the contract status with the LTL companies. And so I would have to call them. I'm like, hey, my customer paid $200 for guaranteed delivery by Thursday, and it's not going to deliver on Friday. And their customer in Michigan is going to miss a line. And they would fight the company. They're like, sorry, we can't get your money back. So then I would have to eat that cost. Not like it didn't come out of my paycheck, but it came out of our company's bottom line, because it's like, okay, well, I have to waive, and that's the crap about working for a third party. Like, you have to take the brunt of this sometimes. So I had to take $200 off my bill. I still had to pay, say, $1,000. Say I had to pay the trucking company $1,000, and now I'm only now I have to pay, or my customer's only paying whatever. So I'm losing money on the deal, is what I'm trying to say. So Card Hobbyist says over 50 watching, never underestimate the drama of logistics. So, and that happened several times. That was my most, Andrew says no more shipping stories, right? It's shipping. I told you it's a nightmare. Told you. I warned you. So that was like, it frustrated me to no end with the non-guarantee guarantee. Let's see. Terry says, I got my mail for the first time in a week yesterday. Dozens of political mailers went right into recycling without being looked at. Amen. That's exactly how I handle all of that crap. Andrew says, guaranteed one autograph, one jersey per box is not guaranteed. That is also true. There's no guarantees in life. Joe Caprino, what's up? Last night, opening a jumbo pack of Update, we hit 6 autographs in one pack. That is amazing. Randy says, what's up, Randy? Sounds like an episode of Shipping Wars. It is, yeah. So there's no guarantees in shipping. Insurance is another thing. I had a coworker who, I think it was like a brother-in-law. It was a relative. It was a close relative. And I can't remember what he was shipping, but it got damaged. And the freight company would only pay like 10% of the value. So if you do choose to ship LTL anything, read the fine print, because insurance coverage on anything shipping is like not going to cover, is likely not going to cover everything. And I think it ruined the relationship because it was a pretty expensive mistake, and his family member was out a lot of money, in some trouble with that damage. Card Hobbyist says, I used to deal with 50 plus truck drivers a day from various carriers. Each one was felt like their issue was a calamity of epic proportions. Only so much tragedy I can take. Oh my gosh. I am such a happier person now that I'm not in transportation. I mean, it's just, it was like a night. Every day was a nightmare. Every day was a nightmare. I would not recommend that industry. It's just, yeah, it was. And sometimes they can hold you hostage. Like that, the worst situations were when a truck driver would hold you hostage. I had a driver that was threatened, and this was down on the border. And I think it wasn't Texas. I think it was in Arizona. What's on the border in Arizona? Is it Avondale, Arizona? There's a border town in Arizona, and I had a driver taking, and I think it was just like a load of like soil. It's mineral enhanced soil, and it went to like a warehouse that wasn't part of it was like a kind of a separate warehouse where the guy who was receiving it was like overseas. And it just went to this warehouse. So the warehouse people didn't have anything to do with my shipper or the receiver that was taking it in. But basically, they threatened that if it was kind of like the old West, where if he wasn't out of there in the next 30 minutes, I can't remember what words they used. But he called the driver called me, and the reason I believed him was because he called 911 from his cab, because he still had stuff on his truck. They were like taking forever, and then they threatened him to the point of him calling 911. There was a police report filed. I had to reach out to my customer. My customer had to reach out to their customer. It's like, okay, I guess we won't use that warehouse anymore. You think? you think? The joys of transportation. So those are just some shipping nightmares. So I would recommend, just based on my experience working in transportation, especially with the less than truckload companies, if it's value of over $10,000, buy a plane ticket, because your plane ticket and maybe an overnight hotel stay and a day or two is going to be less of a headache than the potential pitfalls that could arise when it's not in your hands. Now, I say that, does that mean like 50% of this happens on 50%? No, it's pretty rare, but when it does happen, it's an absolute nightmare. And it's kind of like risk management, risk aversion. Just buy the plane ticket. If it's that much money, and I know $10K might not be a lot to some people. I think it's a lot to most people. Just buy the plane ticket, fly it out there. Let's see. Andrew says Michigan State University had some nasty issues in the tunnel. Big suspension of players that attacked a Wolverine. I saw the video. I saw the, and I didn't realize there was another video. ESPN had like an overhead camera, like at the end. Like I saw some of the up close videos. And what's the dude? And I think I don't want to say what he was. I don't know if it was confirmed, but there was one guy who just like prances. He's like, ooh, I'm out of here, which is what I would do. Like, I'm not talking crap on the guy. I would have done this. I'm like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to tell somebody that can do something, because I'm just low man on the totem pole here. So I saw that, and then I didn't realize at the end, like Michigan started coming in as the Spartans were still like all in the tunnel, and then they had to create like an aisleway for the Wolverines, and words were, a lot of chitter chatter. So yeah. That was pretty crazy. John says, I have trackers in my trucks when I ship. I need to know where my stuff is. Yeah, and fortunately, technology has come to that point where we have a lot of that with, I say we, when I worked in transportation, the company I worked for, we did a lot of mail loads, and some of the first class mail loads have trackers by the third party that the post office uses. Let's see. John says, I agree with the plane ticket. I have no idea how some of these deals get done via mail. It just, it frightens me. But I also have experience in transportation, and I've seen what can go wrong. So maybe I'm just, maybe that's why it kind of like, warning. Let's see. John says the dude that ran looked bad. It's not a good look, because he's likely on staff, and should be in a position where he can control the players, no matter if he's like a water boy, like a student assistant, like I understand getting away, but it was a bad look, like optics, where he's just like, oh, I'm getting out of here. It's like, not a good look. Card Hobbyist said, sold another Pat McAfee base card for $8. Keep an eye out for this punter. Pat McAfee cards. I can't believe the market on those Pat McAfee cards. Also, another that I didn't realize this until I saw it, I think in a Facebook group. There's an Adam Vinatieri rookie card. I think it's from Pacific, so it would have been like 96 or 97 whenever Vinatieri was a rookie. And they're like $100 cards. Like they sell for $100, like a base rookie card of Adam Vinatieri from the mid 90s. So be on the lookout for that. So now I'm like, I've looked in I'm sorting and I see anything from like that era, it's like, ooh, I wonder if there's a Vinatieri. But I think it was not. It's not like Topps or whatever other companies were making football cards back then. I think it was Pacific, and it not as the production was not near what you would have for like a Topps. Let's see. Card Hobbyist says, don't put rivals in an enclosed space when their adrenaline is already pumping. And in the tunnel, like Michigan's had that tunnel for decades, like maybe more than a century. And I know there's been other issues within that tunnel, but there just has to be a little more, awareness that goes into, okay, it's a tough, maybe things were getting chippy at the end of the game. Make sure these two teams are not in the tunnel at the same time. Seems like it would be the logical thing to do. And whatever happened this past weekend, apparently, that whatever, it didn't go well. Colin said, had a 10-card submission worth $30K get run over by a truck. On the way back to my 8 slabs were cracked or broken, 3 damaged cards, all vintage Namath rookies, 5 Gretzky rookies, Jordan rookie, 2 Kobe's. PSA paid me. That's good. And I'm curious. That's great that PSA paid you. That's awesome. So I wonder, and so I'm not privy to, especially I've never submitted to PSA, so I'm not like privy to what's insured like while it's in their hands. So that's the thing with like in freight shipping, it can be, once it's in possession of the truck, it's on, it's no longer the shipper and the receiver have no responsibility. It's strictly on the truck. And so then if the truck gets into an accident and the freight is damaged, it's all on the trucking company and their, and then the third party, if it's hired out by a broker, has to, take that out. And I've had that happen several times. Many times, fortunately, the freight that was damaged was, a small part. So it's like, just take it out of our, if the trucking company did many deals, many loads, say they owe us, or we owe them like 20,000 for various shipments, we can just take it. Okay, we're not paying you 20,000. We're only paying you 10,000 because you damaged $10,000 worth of freight and all that. But then sometimes it does go to insurance claims, and that's fun. John says, if I ever landed a whale of a card, I'd fly down to Boca to deliver it myself to SGC. I would not trust a 51 mantle to be shipped by anyone. Agree. Colin said $6,500 in damages. PSA insures every card coming back. That's the reason for upcharge on big grades. That makes sense. I didn't even think of the insurance part of the upcharge. That makes a lot of sense. Colin says you pay for the value of the card, and when PSA check in the card, they're responsible for them until you get the cards back. So that's good. That's good. I like that. Let's see. John says no, doesn't make sense. No other graders do that. But do other graders insure it the way PSA does? So if you send it to SGC and they don't upcharge you, but you only are insured for the value of, a different value, whatever value, maybe they only insure a $10,000 card to $5,000. My cards are insured on the value I declare. So I don't know. So I don't want to talk any more about that because to me, that makes sense. Now, what other companies do, I don't know. You pay extra for the insurance with BGS and SGC. So yeah, so I'm not privy. Like, I don't know what the insurance covers. We all know how insurance works or doesn't. So, what happens if, like, I'd be curious if SGC, what's the exact protocol? If a truck ran over Colin's cards from SGC, would he get his money back like he did with PSA? And I don't know the answer to that. And fortunately, I'll never find out. Let's see. John says PSA upcharge is a total scam. Colin says no chance. So I don't know. So, but I think that makes perfect sense on the upcharge for the insurance purposes. That's what I had for today. Shipping nightmares. Unfortunately, I don't have to live those nightmares anymore. Now I just and here I am talking about shipping nightmares. Yet I ship 100 cards a day, but they're $5 and $10 and $20 cards, and every once in a while a $500 card through the postal service. Which, hey, and with all the thousands and thousands of cards that I've sent out, and I've shipped out about 25,000 cards in 2022. And I think I've only had one damage claim, maybe 2 damage claims out of 25,000. Of course, I've had some lost, but actual damage, 1 or maybe 2 at most this year out of 25,000. And a handful of lost cards. Less than 100 out of 25,000. That's pretty good. Andrew says I would pay a little more to go to Boca Raton and sit in a waiting room for my card. Can you do that? So that's what I had for today. Let's see. Anything else going on? I don't think so. It's November 1st. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning. I get my double jab tomorrow, so we'll see how I feel Thursday morning. I'm getting the flu shot and my COVID booster. I'm gonna let them inject some tracking devices into my arm tomorrow. Flu shot, booster, all in one tomorrow afternoon. So we'll see how I'm feeling Thursday morning. Today's Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Brian says I hit 2,000 subscribers. I woke up this morning and saw that. So I had a big run yesterday. Because what was I at yesterday morning? 1995, 1992. So I had a little insurgence of YouTube subscribers. So over 2,000 now. Colin says the Postal Service is great. Big cards get sent overnight FedEx. Hasn't been a sequel to movie Castaway. Card Hobbyist says brave man. Flu shot beats me up pretty badly. I've had mixed results with the flu shot. Most times I'm okay with the flu shot. But I don't think last year I got my booster and flu shot at the same time. I think I did them separately. And I talked to one person, they got both at the same time. And I think out of the couple people I talked to, it was like 50-50. Half of them said they had no, they didn't feel bad. And then half of them said they felt like crap the next day. So we'll see where I'm at. So Thursday morning, if I'm late or if I just say screw it, that's why, because I'm probably feeling like crap. Thank you, Andrew. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. eBay store link is in the description. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. Have a wonderful Tuesday.